Yo, yo.
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Eddie Johnson again. I'm your host. We got two special guests in here today. Cousin Sam, this is number 2 for him. And then I got my man JB all the way from Ghana coming through. So our relationship is interesting because we met in high school. And my freshman year in high school was his sophomore year. But it was really like his freshman year because he came, straight from Ghana. So we got a cool relationship, man. Play basketball together. This is my bro right here. So I appreciate him for coming through.
Welcome, JB.
Thanks. Yo, Sam. So who was that beat that was on just now?
Yeah, so that was the Crooklyn Dodgers setup of Chubb Rock, OC, and J. Rue the Damager from the title. From the movie Clockers, which is an excellent movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It has Delroy Lindo in it. See, man, now I'm messing up with actors, but go see it. If you haven't seen it or stream it somewhere. Dope movie, dope soundtrack. We had to use it today.
So we're gonna get into it, man. So, just looking at the state of the world, we had our own little private conversation before this, laughing and all that stuff. But I want to really talk about this topic here. What does it really mean to be a man? So as y'all know, I always refer back to the Bible because that is the standard, and that's where all the instructions are. The life instructions are to live a productive life, an abundant life that Christ has allowed us to live, and His sacrifice. So I wrote a couple topics down. I'm gonna give some scripture on it, and then we're gonna kind of get into it and then bounce off of each other in terms of our ideas and our opinions on certain things. So topic number 1: a man is responsible. So I went to 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 4. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. So when you rule your own house, that's responsibility. Being a man, we're supposed to take care of home, take care of our families, take care of our responsibilities. It seems like nowadays, I don't know what y'all think, but nowadays it seems like us men, we seem to shy away from responsibility. There's a lot of different reasons for that, but I really feel that it's just because, it's not really expected for us to really do much now. Look at the climate of, especially here in the States, you have, it happens, you have women that want to be men and vice versa, unfortunately, but anyways, it's like, so it's like men are more comfortable with allowing the women to kind of take control of things and be in charge. Not to say that women can't do it, because obviously we have strong women out here. Our mothers and women in our family we know are very strong, but it seems like that takes away from a man actually being a man, and being responsible and being accountable. So y'all jump in. What do y'all feel? How do you feel about men being responsible, especially in this day and age?
I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. The responsibility does fall on us when it comes to our families. We're the heads,
right?
Of the family, right. And I think with strong women, like you said, I think it sometimes becomes easier for men to just kind of just sit back, and let the women take charge. And really, the way I look at it is that should almost really make you want to step your game up. Yes. You know what I mean? This should make you want to be that much more complete, be that much be that much more dutiful,
right?
In taking care of your responsibilities,
right?
This way, this way, if you have a son, he knows what it's like to be a man.
Exactly.
If you're, and for a little girl, she knows what to look for in her husband.
Exactly.
So I feel that when it comes to responsibility, when it comes to being a man, I feel that that's key. Is being responsible. Because we're called on to do a lot.
Right.
We're called on to do a lot, and like I said, and if we don't, the stakes are really high, especially in this day and age. Stakes are very high. You want children. You want your children to. Theoretically, parents always want their children to do better than them.
Right.
But if as a man, if you fail, you put your kids behind the 8 ball, and they actually have a worse starting place than what you would initially want for them, and it becomes that much harder for them going forward. Right. So, in terms of the future, the responsibility on us, the responsibility on men, is to be men,
right,
and to handle that responsibility.
I mean, for me, it's more of a gender role thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you're a man, you know that there are certain things that you have to, get done, or have situated in your life at certain stages in your life, Right. But like overall, like my perspective on like the pressure that men are put under, especially us black men, it may be unduly warranted. Like it's not really fair, and it comes in 2 dimensions. It's not fair because of the historical, factualities that have led us to,
to this point.
To this point. Like it's easy for you to come from a good background and then say, be responsible, right, when you've never had anyone to
show you that,
teach you that. You know what I mean? I mean, society has its own way of herding us into what a man is supposed to be. But I think what's most important is that as a man, your main responsibility should be on your destiny. And that could come in all sorts of different ways. Just because an individual, an individual's definition of, my responsibilities as a man should be like this, does not mean that same mold falls for everyone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be true to yourself and whatever you really need to be responsible. If it's being the emotional stability in your family,
right,
you know what I mean? Doesn't mean you have to go out there and go get money for the family or not. You're the person who handles this part of the family.
Right.
Don't try and overburden yourself with what, okay, it's 2019, so you have to be worried about XYZ, this list. No, it's be true to yourself and be true to that. Be responsible to that truth that you find within yourself. You know what I mean? What you're supposed to be responsible. You know the best way to be responsible in your life, and most likely and most of the time it's those things that that hurt to do or that are annoying to wake up and get done. It's you know what I mean? You should be responsible to those things in your life.
And I think JB brings up a really good point, because I feel that that men set the tone in the house. I think that's one of our responsibilities is to set the tone for the direction the family is going to move in.
Right.
I think the men set the tone. I think women help steer it.
Yes.
Absolutely. But men definitely set the direction. And when we say responsibilities, we're talking about the major ones. Some of y'all women, y'all can take the garbage out of, a time or two. Y'all don't gotta just leave it on us. Let the house stink until we get home and say, oh, you know what, garbage needs to be taken out. No, just like some men, men, step your culinary game up, man. Cook for your female, cook for your children. When dad comes home, and wife hasn't had a chance to prepare a meal, it shouldn't be, all right, well, let's order something. Nah, man, get in that kitchen. There's tons of easy recipes on YouTube that you can, use to drum up something, delicious for your family. So,
right. Right.
So, like you said, it shouldn't just be based on gender idea. No, it's a set tone for for the house. And like I said, your little ones are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, they're always watching you. When you think they're not, they are.
Right.
So you want them to start. You want them to start ahead of the curve. And like I said, to be a better version of yourself. So
I always say that kids are sponges, and they always looking, they always watching. Like, even on a personal note, I remember seeing. I think I was in high school at the time, and I just walked in my parents' room. My dad was in his room, and he's reading his Bible. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, I need to do that. Dad is doing that. I need to get to that. My dad is doing this. So, and it was like almost like a subconscious thing. Like, oh, okay, I see this. So yeah, let me do the same thing. So yeah, deaf kids are definitely watching everything you do. And that makes it even more imperative for us as men, to be responsible and to set the right tone. There's so many things that you can do that you think are okay and are right, but realistically, what should be happening, because that you have others looking up to you. Even your woman, your woman looks up to you. That's just kind of the reality of it. We need to be responsible because there are people that look up to us. And again, to go off what JB said, it doesn't always mean that the specific gender roles, like Sam was saying too. It's not like the woman always has to cook and all these things. Sometimes it's like, what, I want to take care of my family, so I know we need to eat it. Maybe my woman, my wife, don't feel like cooking right now. I'm hungry myself. Shoot,
right.
I need to eat something too. So yeah, let me put it together. Let her take the day off or the night off or whatever the case may be, and just hold everything down for her, for the family. So I think that was a great one.
I mean, it goes even deeper than that.
Yeah,
because it's not just for your kids.
Right.
Like, it's like people have to realize their responsibility to like other people's realities and like the world, because the world is not just you existing by yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? You actually go out there and you interact with the world. Like your kids, like they learn from you, but then they leave the home and learn from other people as well. Yeah. So your responsibility to being responsible goes beyond the people you care about. It propagates into society. You know what I mean? You showing that you're like a good man. You know what I mean? To a community of people, of young men that haven't seen a good man before. You in turn, like if it's a community of like 100 black men, like you could inspire another black man.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Out of the 100. You know what I mean? You understand? Yep. So the responsibility goes beyond yourself and beyond your loved one. It's like you being responsible to your responsibilities permeates into society.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like a whole thing. So you may be thinking, oh, you're doing this for yourself. No, you're doing this for the society as a whole. You get what I mean? Because there's like some behaviors or some things that kind of like come out of nowhere, and you're like, yo, where they do that at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where are these guys coming from? No, it's like they're a group of people that have harbored this certain behavior, and it's starting to spread. Yes. And that's where you see it. You know what I mean? Because certain people are starting to act a certain way or be a certain way or do certain things no longer within the shadows, but like it's out in the open now. You know?
And I think the one thing that we as men have always got to be cognizant of. It's a quote that I'll paraphrase from this movie, but our failures are louder than our successes.
Yeah, most certainly.
The actual quote is our failures are known, our successes are not.
Mm-hmm.
But we always have to be cognizant of that because as men, typically we don't get a lot of credit,
Mm-hmm.
In general. You know what I mean? Because we'll likely get credit if we do something that's on like an extraordinary level,
right?
I'll use Michael Jordan for an example. Michael Jordan is known for his basketball exploits, but you're not hearing it's not like, oh man, Michael Jordan's the greatest father ever. You know what I mean?
Very true.
So it's not like the world is going to give us much credit in terms of what we do, for our families, for our communities, and everything. But the moment we mess up, that's all over the place. You'd hear about him or any superstar being a child abuser before you'd hear them being a great dad.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have to be cognizant of that. The pressure's on. We have to be, on top of our game, because if we're not, believe me, the whole world will.
Oh, but that's one thing that I'd love that we stick to as a society. Not really coddling to men that do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
But I get you.
But I get that thing too, because I've actually spoken to my mom. I was like, yo, why don't you hype me up when I do something like good,
right?
And I don't know. It's just something that I feel like us men should stick to. We shouldn't really expect anyone to hype us up for the good things that we do, or hype us up talk to us bad for the things that we do. It's just it should be an internal thing.
Right, and
it should be instinctual.
And that's what I was gonna say. Because I think that men, I think we're driven more by our pride, and men will always take pride in good work.
Yeah.
So we'll know internally that we've done well.
Yeah.
Because of that sense of pride that we feel after it's done, or the sense of pride that we feel when we know that everything is in line,
as opposed to socially being validated. You did a great job. Nah, I know, man.
Right. It's like I know I did that.
I know.
But again, all that to say that even though we do know, and we have that validation for ourselves, you can always expect that if something goes wrong, there'll be a finger pointed at you.
Yeah.
And that should be part of being a man. Knowing, all right, look, I messed up. Because once you start to take the engine out of the man, you're supposed to be validating yourself. You're supposed to be innately following your dreams or being responsible to your responsibilities. You know what I mean? When you mess up, you should not look to wait for people to chastise you. When you do good things, you shouldn't wait for people to praise you. You should just live and exist as a man.
But the reason you don't gotta wait for it though is because the chastisement is coming.
It's coming. That's a fact.
It'll meet you.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But where I thought you were gonna go with it is that I really forgot where I was going with that. Go.
But what I was going to say is that, in terms of that validation, looking for that praise or somebody say yo, man, you could have did this a little better. I feel like that comes with knowing who God created you to be, and really finding out what your purpose is in life. And then it's okay, I don't care. You could say, thank you for giving me my credit. I don't need that though.
Yeah.
But, or it could be yo, somebody just told you that you messed up. Okay, I know that already. I already know. I know I messed up. I'm back on track. I'm getting to it again. It's I think, also being a man is about, knowing that, yeah, you can be knocked down for a quick second, but it's always about getting back up. I think we spoke about this before, is knowing that what it looks like is not the end. The end is you getting back on your feet and doing what you're supposed to do, and really, coming through again being responsible with whatever your responsibilities may be, knowing that, okay, yeah, I messed up. I kind of fell off a little bit, but I still got these things to do, say the bills still got to be paid, so you still got to kind of get right and get to it.
And I remember the point I was getting on, but what both of you are coming into, is another term that I really feel that goes with accepting responsibilities, and that's accountability.
Right.
I feel that men have to hold themselves accountable.
Exactly.
For what they do, and it's if you're not living up to, or if you fall short of the mark, nothing wrong with saying, you know what, own up. I fell short of it. Yeah. Own up to it,
right?
And that's how you're able to make you change.
I absolutely agree, but I feel like that the driver for that internally for a man should not come from their social praise or the social.
Right,
exactly. You know what I mean?
Right.
As a man, and I don't know. I feel like in this 2019 era, or this modern age that we're living in, this PC culture, kind of it kind of gives way to recognition of efforts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which I agree with. You know what I mean? But once you start deriving the passion or the need to make any move in your life from external reactions to what then that's when you lost. You lost. Mm-hmm. You lost that lesson, being a man 101. You lost.
Yep.
Right. You know what I mean? Everything for you as a man should come internal. And I don't even like to frame it as for men. It's just like as a human being, you're whatever you do, validation for it or being able to chastise it should all be internal.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I always feel that even as men, there's nothing wrong with. And I'm not saying have someone to lean on.
I agree. That's why I'm really conflicted. Yeah. We do deserve praise sometimes.
What I was getting at though, and this goes along with the accountability, is to there isn't anything wrong with having another man to validate, and this is where I'm getting at.
Oh yeah.
As brothers, we gotta hold hold each other accountable too.
Yeah, facts.
You need the
community.
Yeah, right.
You need your community of brethren,
because you can't do it in a vacuum. It has to
exactly.
There has to be a basis for it. Yeah.
And the best point to look to is the best person to look to usually is always someone who's been there. My pastor says you never want to go to someone who has your problem. You always want to pattern yourself after someone who's been there and has done it. Mm-hmm. Has done it, seen it. Because they'll know the pitfalls that you're about to come up on. Yeah. So this way, each one teach one. You can help them try to avoid those pitfalls as best they can.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes as men, we get caught up in, all right, well, I'm a man, so that means I got to do all of this by myself, and that's not the case. That's wrong.
Right.
That's setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly. I feel like a man is able to admit that he needs help in whatever the case may be.
Right.
Yeah. Like you said, it's not. I don't think we were created to just go through life alone. Like I remember Auntie Nene said, you like a lone wolf, man. Like you don't really have nobody kind of as a running mate with you. And at first I kind of took that like, yeah, I mean, I'm only child. I like being by myself. But then, as I got older, it's like, yeah, you do need, someone to kind of give you some encouragement, some advice, like you said, somebody that's been there, done that already.
Right.
And again, that prevents you from going through those same pitfalls, from making those same, boneheaded mistakes that, are easily preventable. But again, I think that goes also back to being prideful. As men, that's just kind of who we are. We have that sense of pride. We want to say like, yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? But it's good to have people like you guys to keep someone like myself, to keep us accountable. Like,
you trying to call me old?
Nah, but like, yeah, it's. I think a man is supposed to seek help. You got, men in the Bible, some of the greatest men, King David, inquiring to God about, the things that he was going through, him being on the run from King Saul, and yeah, this is God he's asking, but still he's asking for help. That's the main thing, It's not. It doesn't make you less of a man to ask for help. In fact, I think that makes you more of a man because you're admitting, like, okay, I want to get somewhere and I need help getting there. So what do you have to offer me? What can you help me with?
And I think it's interesting that you brought up Saul, him being on the run, because initially, Saul had Samuel as his guy, right, and sort of that man to kind of help keep him in check.
Right.
Now, granted, he steered away from it once he felt that
pressure.
Well, no. Once he felt that he had already came along, and then he started to kind of turn away.
Yeah.
But those formative years of him being king, and those formative years leading up to him being king, he had Samuel to, and you find out that even after Samuel died, he goes to, when he feels himself lost again, he goes to a witch to, a soothsayer to conjure up Samuel up, so that he can ask him his advice again.
Right.
So all that to say, I'm really just to reiterate my point, we're setting ourselves up for downfall if we don't learn that, if we don't learn to one, reach out, right, and to two, learn.
Right.
Learn from other men that have been there. I've been fortunate that I've had your dad. We had granddad. We had Uncle Gene.
Right.
We have men to learn from.
Yeah.
I have my brother.
Right.
For this thing called life, and this is why it's so important that men be there for their children, no matter what that issue is that may prevent you, that you may use as an excuse to not be there for your children.
Right.
This is why, because again, they're gonna, it's children, especially boys, especially black boys.
Yes.
We'll go. We can. It's so easy to go the wrong way if we don't have our dads in our life to one, validate us as men, and to two, to provide a guideline to help, and to help keep us accountable. The older we get.
Right.
So I would say again, man, if there's any reason that you need to stay in your children's life, there any reason that you may even want to be like a big brother to someone, it's for that reason alone. There's too many of us dying and or going to jail because because we don't have that figure in our life to hold us.
But let me ask you this: what's your advice to kids that don't have that don't have the model or the template to go about that? Let me give you my personal. I mean, I've had the opportunity. I had the opportunity to have a society of men or a group of individuals that I could actually learn from, but let's say for me, I left Ghana when I was 15.
Okay.
Came over here, lived with my aunt who has 3 little girls and a husband that's works like crazy. So he's never at home for me to properly sit down with him, chop it up, actually learn from this dude. Where would I get that from? What's the advice for kids that they have no male or even if they have a male role model around them, it's not these are not behaviors that you would like to emulate.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Well, do you know the reason that they?
I mean, because in 2019 there are a lot of mentors online. There are people you could watch, people you could read, all that stuff. But I'm trying to think about it back in the day when when I got here, 2009, 2010, who helped me? get through it. You know what I mean? Like how I got through it because I played sports. Always had a coach. I always hung out with you. You know what I mean? I always had so I had men in my life that like had a head on their body that could actually like
that you can learn from.
I could actually learn from. But if I didn't play sports, I feel like
right. That's true.
Who would I have turned? How would I have turned out?
Understood. And that is an actual great point because innately as a child, even though you may not realize you're doing it, you are searching.
Right.
And that's how a lot of us get turned around. It's because that's how kids fall into the wrong crowd because they're already searching. And what happens is that that negative influence a lot of times reaches out to them and grabs them faster than the positive influence can. So, like you said, you had your coaches, but there's others. There's teachers that kids can go to. It's why it does help to belong to a church because they'll your pastors and or people of that ilk because I grew up without my dad, and my brother, has a significant age gap between my brother and myself, over 7 years. So a lot of my formative years, he was already away at college. So for that time, it was me and my mother. Now again, I was fortunate. That's why I said I had. Ed's dad, as my uncle. I had my other uncle Gene. I had my grandfather. But there came a point when we moved from here in Jersey back to New York. And it was weird because it was like, wow, here we go. I'm now going to be away from all of them. My brother's down south. Okay, But fortunately, I had the church. I had my pastor there at my church. My best friend's father.
Can we talk about how hard it is for teenagers to reach out to churches?
Understood. Actually, that's something we could probably save a whole hour for right there.
Because I'm trying to wrap my brain around.
Because the thing is,
as a teenager, someone telling me, all right, you have these avenues. The church is one of them. Like, you wouldn't even think about that.
Right.
But and the only reason why I know it is because I went through it. I always say that, and I have to keep saying it, because I guess just in light of current events. But I feel a pretty good success story, all things considered, because like I said, it was, trust me, when we moved back to New York, that negative influence, it's there.
It's heavy.
I mean, and it's waiting for it to, it's waiting to buddy you up.
Right.
And and say, hey, stay with me.
Right.
I was fortunate that a lot of my a lot of church influence I had, those roots were planted way before I moved back to New York. So I already had.
That goes to that Proverbs 22:6.
Right.
Train up a child. You should go.
So I already had that, that I already had those avenues set. But because I look at a lot of my friends who didn't have that, and it was easy for them to get caught up in everything else because, if whether you like it or not, you're gonna find a quote unquote daddy.
Yes, sir.
Whether it be positive, like going, like growing up, in the church, having those coaches, or the streets.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna have gonna have a daddy.
But you know what? In 2019, this is such a I'm gonna keep it real. This is such a soft society that we live in. Like, everything is so tender. Like,
But I think
no. Check this out, right? So where you have kids looking, it's not necessarily the streets. It definitely is. The streets is still a factor for sure. But now you have kids looking to the TV, looking to rappers and things. And that goes, like a lot of these rappers are not who they, portray themselves to be.
No, but is that a phenomenon of this generation?
I think that's been happening for a long time. But right? Yes, exactly.
But what it is though is that the content is a lot easier.
It's so accessible.
Right.
You got little kids, babies, watching TV doing the dances. So it's like it's accessible, like you said, it's accessible almost as soon as you come out the womb. Right?
Yeah, and like I said, and that's another. I mean, and I guess both parents. And when I say parents, I'm talking parents can actually share some of the blame in where because it's easier to kind of let TV raise the kid.
Mm-hmm. It is.
While you're taking care of stuff, and it might not mean to do it.
Right. It's just,
you're working a long day. You come in, you're tired. The only way to keep little Junior quiet is to sit him in front of the TV, let him watch his favorite show.
Right.
But while he's watching that favorite show, he's bombarded with thousands of images per minute.
Yeah.
Per minute that tells you this is what you want to be in life. This is what you need to have. Right. This. Right. And it may not necessarily be what it is that he should be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's something to be said for letting your for those avenues. But like I said, something's going you're gonna have a daddy, whether you want one or not. Right. You're gonna have that guy and an influence.
Yeah.
And like I said, it could be the streets.
Mm-hmm.
It could be pop culture as we know it today.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that.
Can we take a little side street?
Sure.
I hate to hijack this.
Dude, nah, this is beautiful. Do this.
I think that there's also a problem with the people that pass on knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only and I hate to use this cliche, but education that was used for the people that are handing us down life advice on choose this career or marry this person or live your life this way. We're educated in a completely different generation than we were. Imagine because we complain all the time a lot of non-believers who are struggling with Christianity talk about a favorite argument of theirs is that the Bible was created thousands of years ago. How can you use that model for 2019? And I mean, do they have a point? The people who my mom and my dad gave me career advice. They were like, yo, go be a doctor because in high school you were good at math and science and all of that.
Right.
I took that path and it didn't lead to me being a doctor. I actually later on found out that my passion was finance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That cost me close to 6 years of my life. So me listening to my parents you should go into medicine. Is that bad advice?
No.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It's no, but then it begs the question. It's the people giving advice, are those people really well equipped to give you the advice that you need?
Well,
not opposed to the advice that a parent gives to a child or the advice that a mentor gives to a mentee or all right, that's my youngin', you should do it this way. You should go down that path. Or, you know what I mean? Right. They may not necessarily know what's right for you. I mean, they don't know everything in this world. They don't know, you know what I mean? They, I always look at my dad and I'm like, yo, that's me in the future.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And when you think about it that way, it's yo, I don't really know. I know some stuff. But I don't really know much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know much that if my niece came up to me, oh, Uncle Junior, what should I be in future? Yo, bruh.
but let me.
What I can do is support your dreams as much as I can, but I have no idea. Yo, you're the one. You gotta tell me.
It's your life.
But here's the thing.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is what your parents did, though, and this is what you gotta grasp hold of. The reason they said to be, but they tell you to be a doctor, right?
Yeah.
What didn't they tell you? Did they tell you to be anything less? No. They encouraged you. What they wanted you to do was shoot high. That's what they were telling you. Shoot high. Because doctors, that's high.
Yeah.
And it involves a lot of study.
Right.
So, yeah, you didn't become a doctor, but you realized that your passion was finance. Pretty high.
Right.
So you stuck to that, because in their way, what they wanted you to do was not settle for less. And doctors have the reputation of, the road to get there.
But I could have easily been an artist or a writer who could have written, like, let's say, the 48 Laws of Power. I don't, you know what I mean?
Why can't you do it now?
No, I'm not saying that I can't do it now. I'm just saying that, like, who are we to say that, like, any career, like, especially now with what globalization has done to, like, the world,
right? Like,
who are we to say that any career path is invalid? Because we looked at YouTubers 7 years ago. Yeah. Like, yo, what are you doing, man? Right. But now these guys rake in hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Is that now a valid career path?
But see, here's the thing, though. To everything that
you know
that
what
has,
I mean,
right? But this is where that help comes in, because to every phenom, especially after anything after 2000, there's a bubble attached to it. The .com industry, that was the big thing in the early 2000s. I don't agree, because YouTube channels they've gone from it being really talented individuals to people who upload highlights of NBA games and they're making bank.
Yeah, that's
they make so much money.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
It's become a process. It's become a system that you put X, Y, and Z together, you're good. You're making money.
But here's the thing. Even YouTube is cracking down on that now.
They are, but
because the thing is, that's what I said to Aaron, it's a bubble, and at some point it's gonna pop.
It's gonna pop.
So what happens now is now you've got that market being flooded with everything, and YouTube realizing, hey, look, we can't pay everyone like we used to even 5 years ago. So now everything is so much more stringent. Now it comes on something that you have to have, and it all falls down to, this is what they wanted you to do, was to shoot high and find something solid to hold on to.
Yeah.
So even with the YouTube videos, now it's now everything is going exclusive. It's got to be create your own content for you to make money.
eBay flipping. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's something that you would have told a parent or a loved one, that someone that, like, was giving you advice, and it would have been a hard sell. Like, yo, I'm going to flip stuff that I buy on YouTube. I mean, on eBay,
right?
And make money out of that. Yo, no parent, I don't care, man. No parent 6 years ago,
that's a fact,
considered that. Or look, esports,
right?
Esports, It's like, yo,
I wish I could see his face right now.
Like, how, there was no parent that you can convince, I am going to play video games and I will come back a millionaire.
Hey, who are you telling? I used to try to convince my mother. It's crazy. Hold on. Here's a funny thing about that, and this goes back to my past. Before you were born, I was actually in a video games world championship. So I've always kind of had the idea that was possible. Super Mario Brothers it was like 1990. I did something at Garden State Mall, and I won my way into this. So I was like, He was like ranked like number like 7 or 8 in the world. Like,
but think about that. You were
before the world figured.
Yeah, no, but think about that. You were at the peak. You were like in terms of like video game like, at that time.
Yeah.
You were at the peak, the mountains. You were a legend. Imagine it needed like it needed you to be number 7 ranked. Yeah. For your mom to even have an idea, this is a possibility. Right. You know what I mean? As opposed to what the status quo is, like what the educational system is built on. Oh, you guarantee that when you put your child in this program till the end, they will get some secure job. Then it's that same ease of acceptance.
I feel like
that's people who give us advice. These are people who like care about us, and we care about their like what they tell us. Right. They have no idea what's good for us.
But that's why it's incumbent on now us to pass on to this new generation. Because the thing is everything is always going to get pushed forward.
No, but how would we? That's what I'm saying.
That's everything gets pushed forward.
Where we're giving advice. What do we know about the next 5 years that we're giving advice on today?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Again, but that's also why they said be a doctor, because there's always going to be a need for doctors. But you got to, there's always going to be a need for lawyers. There's always going to be, there's always going to be a need for that.
But what if that's not what you want to do with your life? What if that just, now you're in the mindset, okay, mom and dad told me to do this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I got to do this. I may not enjoy it, but they told me they know. No, listen, mm-hmm. It's like they know because they've been through life. They know certain things. They got answers to certain questions. So maybe they're right. Maybe I should do this. But then, like you said,
they have explored the entire existence of reality. How could they know that?
Right. But here's the thing. Parents aren't. They're not infallible.
Right. Exactly.
And what's going to happen is that along the way, and this is where you're an adult now. Right. So now you're figuring out, this is what I'm good at. Mm-hmm. This is what I can contribute. This is what makes me. No, it's not being a doctor. Okay. Mm-hmm. But when did you learn that though?
A whole lot later.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at is you weren't in the
because I'd be a millionaire. Look, I'm saying this, I would be a millionaire right now if I went into finance first.
Well, right. But the thing, but you had to find out that you like that. That's why it's nothing that parents. That's the point up until which parents can't tell you.
Right.
Because now it is your life,
right?
And at 16, 17, mm-hmm. You naturally already start to break away from. All right, this is the confines of what my parents are teaching me. Now, and you wanting to be your own man. So you're gonna find that out for yourself. Case in point, your aunt always thought I was gonna be a scientist because at one point I thought that was awesome. Yeah. Being a scientist,
right.
Clearly, I'm not that. I'm not that. Right. But I figured out a passion for writing. I figured out that that I was good with finance. I'm good with benefits. Right. I found other giftings along the way that I can fall back on and say, okay, here's where I can go. And that stick-to-itiveness that I would have needed to be a scientist, I can now put into the areas that I'm involved with now.
I was gonna say, hold on.
Oh yeah, this I was gonna say, this conversation just turned into something. It completely flipped around.
But what I was gonna say is that what you were saying, like what advice would we give now? It's like the advice. Me personally, what I would say, first of all, I think. I'm not a parent yet, obviously, but when that does happen, I would say, like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to what my child is good at, and like what they just do effortlessly good, right? For me personally, it was artwork. So I was in the finance field, and then I figured out that's definitely not what I want to do. I want to be an entrepreneur, and I want to design and create and do all these different things. So... But like I know you've seen me as a kid do draw and everything. My parents have seen me that as well. But again, like you said, your parents kind of encourage you to be a doctor because, like Sam said, it's because they want you to aim high. So I guess that's just, some of the advice that we would have to give to the youth coming up. And then also it comes down to, you haven't really seen what your child is into. What I would say is, listen, clearly you're here for a reason. You weren't a mistake. God put you here for a reason. So that begs to say that you need to go to the Lord and ask him, like, Lord, what is my purpose? And he has all these gifts. Like, nothing. There's a song that I've been listening to. It's called Give Us Your Heart, William McDowell. And it was a live version. And he was saying, like, later on in the song, I don't want to live a life on full. Like, I want everything that God has given me, all the talents and abilities that God has put in me, to be put to use. So, I can make it to heaven. God says, well done, good and faithful servant, because you did everything that you were supposed to do. You used every single gift that I gave you and put it to use, all for my glory. So it's like, I don't want to, I want to, be able to, I guess being, not even just being a man, but being an adult is figuring out, okay, this didn't work out. So what is it that I'm good at? What is it that, that I do effortlessly? I tell people this all the time. Like, you hear people complain, I don't like my 9 to 5, this, that, and the other. But then I'm like, okay, well, what are you good at? Like, what is something that you do effortlessly that is just easy to you and that is fun? And it's like, you can take that and flip that into something so powerful and something that could really change the world. You know what I mean? And,
I'm trying to, I want to ask you guys' opinion on something. Would you, as future parents, would you ever be open to, allowing that position that you take in your kids' lives? It's like, okay, one day I'm going to have to give them advice on where to take their lives now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Would any of you be open to we all know what artificial intelligence is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gathering of data to come up with an actionable diagnosis or prognosis for a certain problem, whatever. Would you be open to forfeiting that responsibility in your children's lives?
No.
And putting it in the hands of artificial intelligence?
Mm-hmm. No. Because artificial intelligence is a misnomer. Artificial intelligence
how about artificial intelligence having more data points to be able to make better decisions for your kid? Because artificial intelligence can follow your kid how people have their cell phones now, that have things that the cell phone projects to you. Oh, would you like to go to this restaurant? Oh, did you like that place that you were at? You know what I mean?
Okay.
These things all gathered up into a data set, actually giving you information to give to your kid. I mean, because we can't deny that. Look, technology is a part of our lives now. It's no longer. This is no longer the devil or something that we should be scared of.
It's going to end the world.
You understand what I mean? It's something that we've all come to embrace as something that's very functional and very necessary in our lives now. I see that in the future there is going to be stuff that will gather data in some central point about an individual that can make us make more informed decisions or give better advice to our kids, as opposed to me being some finance guy, having a kid. The kid wants to mountain bike or wants to do skateboarding. I mean, an African kid who's trying to do skateboarding. You understand what I mean? I need to be able to give advice to my child.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Here's why I say it's a misnomer. Because data cannot produce itself. Data has to be put there by an individual. And as long as individuals are always fallible, data can always be fallible and corrupted.
Right.
So
leaving it to the individual who's creating that data.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because let's say what's on your phone. Can you agree with me that if your phone suddenly, your personal phone that you've been using for more than a year or two, became a person right now, do you believe that person, that phone can give you better advice on how you should live your life than a perfect stranger?
You know what's crazy?
No, because
your phone. I'm telling you,
as much as people are so into their phones these days, that would probably be right.
I'm telling you, man.
But that's why.
But why? But why could it?
Because
we're so programmed.
I'm telling you.
But who programs it?
Right, people did. Yes, absolutely.
And the only way that it could tailor itself to you is if you yourself program it. And this is the point I'm making with our children.
For sure.
What they are, and this is incumbent on parents, especially now more than ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's what we expose them to.
Right.
If and that's how they'll know if they like it.
Right.
The reason you don't play golf is because that's not your thing, but you were exposed to it. Right. That's how you knew it wasn't.
Hindsight 2020, I probably would have got into that joint, serious. Yeah.
I think about
but would you rather be playing golf now more than designing your watches?
No, yeah, you're right. You're 100%.
So you have to be. It's incumbent on parents now. On what they expose their children to. I want to expose my children to, technology early, so they don't have to, so that, like you said, we're living in a technology-based world, and the technology is only going to
improve.
It's going to keep improving. I want to keep them as close to the curve as possible. So that they're not lost going forward. It's like, we're going to become obsolete. In our child's eyes. I look at it now it's like sometimes I'm on with, I'm helping my mom, and I'm like, Mom, it's like you're not getting this, but then I'm like, wait a minute, she was my age. None of this was even close to being there, and I can only imagine what will be going on with my kids
next year. No,
what is 5?
You can't imagine 6. What it's going to be next year.
Yeah, I probably won't have a child next year. Just not one that can use a computer. At least I hope not. If he comes out of the womb if he comes out the womb doing that, hey guys,
let me tell y'all,
the sky's the limit. I'm a billionaire.
Let me tell y'all a funny story about computers. I just recently told this story, but so my parents are brilliant. I love them, and they just wanted me to get into anything, just to figure out what it is I wanted to do, right? So I think I was maybe like 2 or 3. You hear that? 2 or 3 years old, right? And they decided to put me into a computer programming class. Mm-hmm. So they wanted me to be the next prodigy, which is that's great, But so I went into the it was a class full of adults too, by the way, and my parents couldn't stay there with me because. In that room, I guess. I don't know. So the teacher, I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry, I can't remember her name. But she was an older woman with gray hair, white hair, gray hair.
You remember?
Oh, her!
You remember? I remember this. But my dad told me the story. So he was like, yeah, we just thought we were doing such a great thing with you, and just to have you in here because we knew clearly they were up on something. They knew that computer was going to be the big thing. Mm-hmm. So. I was in the classroom, and they said I just kept crying, right? So I had to, they were taking out the class, right? So the teacher went up to them and was like, listen, he got one more chance to stay in here. If he cries again, he can't be in here because he's disrupting the class. I'm not able to teach. So my dad goes to me, he's like, yo, what's wrong? Why you keep crying? And my brilliant answer at 3 years old was, 'cause she's ugly. Yo, and my dad's like, man, I could have punched you in the face just now, yo. We all laughed.
Yo, Ed, so you telling me you could have been
I probably could have, yo.
You could have been the next tech giant?
I could have. I just
But she ain't look right,
right? She ain't look right.
Well, that leads us to the next point. We as men are very visual.
Yeah.
So,
That's another topic for another day. We get into that later.
But I think it's something to look out for in the future. That we will need the aid of computers or whatever device that we give our kid to for that device to be with them at all times. That thing is going to give us more data points to be able to make more
other decisions.
No, give better advice to our kids, because that search history does not lie, man.
Yeah,
your search history, it's because it's more of a what you're trying to know about the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that I feel like you can't. as much as you sit down and talk to your kid, as much as you try and like be close with them, be friends with them, they won't tell you the kind of information that you get out of like their search history. That it's unadulterated. It's no filter.
No, absolutely.
Nothing. You know what I mean?
And like I said, my point is that, but us as parents, we gotta expose them to that because they won't know it if
I don't
know. They'll find out about it too late if we don't expose.
And also, I think
if we don't introduce them to it, someone
that
will destroy that whole data set.
Exactly.
So the whole intention of it could be.
I was gonna say it's better for us as parents
to introduce
them to not even just artificial intelligence or technology, but just anything for us to really introduce it to them, so that we know that we're saying to them in a place of love of I want you to do this because I want you to be safe. I want you to know what's out there, this, that, and the other, as opposed to just not introducing it to them and then them getting into it from somebody that really wants to invoke harm on them. You know what I mean? So and I think that comes with again, since our topic.
And most of the time when you go through that avenue, it's just a lot of shady stuff that you get to know about before you're ready for it. Whoever's trying to show you something on a low is not trying to show you something like
for a positive reason. And I think that's that comes with because our topic was being a man and stuff like that. Being a man, you do need to pay attention to your children. Like Sam said earlier, you really have to keep your eye on them, especially because there's so much evil out here in this world that it's just like. The world wants your child to get into something crazy because so they're not a productive member of society.
And not to mention it's like you're competing with the world too because they want to be your child's dad also.
Right.
But that's because that's why I said you're gonna have a daddy somewhere. You're gonna have a daddy some point. So
it's just so important as men to, again, I think those are our main points to. Be accountable, to be responsible, and also to be a leader. Again, going back to the Bible, some of the greatest leaders in the Word looked for ways to, ways to seek help, but then also ways to seek help just so they can be able to lead and guide, whoever is looking up to them.
Right. Just as I say, because the greatest leaders know how to follow.
Right.
And that's why accountability is so important.
Mm-hmm.
That's why having a mentor is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have one, seek one out.
Right.
Find someone you can trust.
Right.
Find someone that that has your answers, because like I said, you don't want the blind leading the blind.
Right.
Hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So find someone who has your answer. And if you have an answer for someone that's younger than you, or someone that that can use a hand up,
mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with giving them a hand up. I think, again, we get to the point where sometimes the focus on being a man is being selfish,
mm-hmm.
and that's never the case.
Right.
We've got to help pull other brothers up, other men up.
Right.
This way, we as a society
mm-hmm.
are doing better.
I think the most that I ever learned about being a man was when I had someone like underneath me who was looking up to me.
Yeah, right. So you got to step right.
So
mm-hmm.
if you're really struggling with that, find someone that like you feel like you're more fortunate than, or someone who's less fortunate than you, or someone who's in a lower place or less fortunate place. Yeah, that's a better word. A less fortunate place than you, and try to lift that person up, and you'll see how the type of manhood that would bring out of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll this will be the last thing I say, so you can put a bow on it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most powerful pieces of advice I got was that when you're strong enough, the things that you were missing in life, be the things that you were missing,
mm-hmm.
so that so that you can help the next person. So if you if you grew up missing A, B, C, and D, when you're strong enough, be that A, B, C, and D that you were missing. I always wanted to be a bigger brother. I was fortunate enough, that I had little cousins, that I could be that big brother to. Someday I'm going to be the dad that I've always wanted, that I've always wished that I had. When you're strong enough, be what you were missing in life, become it. Yeah. And I mean, it goes without saying, all the positive things in life, but become it. And in this way, your future is better off.
Yeah, and I just my closing thing would be, for those of us that maybe haven't been fortunate to have that father figure, that positive male figure in our lives, like Sam kind of said, be who it is that you wish you had, for someone coming up under you, whether that be, your child or cousin, nephew, whatever the case may be. Because it's not like, I know a lot of times, sometimes people tend to harp on the past. Like, man, I didn't have that growing up. I didn't, this is what I was missing. This is why I'm the way I am. It's like, when you get to a certain age, you have to be, responsible. You have to be accountable. You have to know that, okay, I didn't have that. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I know I can be better. I want to be better. And to really, and know that, especially if you're going to have a family someday, you need to be better, because you don't want your children, just out of love, you don't want your children to go through those same mistakes that or to make those same mistakes that you made coming up. And I just think it's, I just think this was such a great conversation because it just covers so many different topics. We went all over the place, but still, it was great stuff.
No bad for that.
No. That was great. Well, like you said, it's a conversation, man. And
that's the beautiful thing about it, because many people that may be interested in all the other things that we said, this got their ears. So I just think it was great. So I just want to go over again, a couple of topics that I had, and I'll close it out. Y'all don't have any more to add on? Y'all good?
I'm good, boss.
We should do this again.
We're going to definitely do this again.
Well, yeah, I feel there's got to be a part 2.
Oh, yeah.
It has to be 7 or 8 parts.
Yeah, let's get into it. We're gonna get into it. We're going to go to Ghana and get into it. So.
I'm saying, you're welcome, man. Right, you're welcome. We got a studio and everything ready for you.
Oh, we're going to do that. So the topics that I had: a man is responsible. A man protects and provides for his family. A man keeps his word and tells the truth, because, out here a lot of people don't necessarily hold up to their word. So being a man, we have to make sure we do that. A man doesn't just talk, but acts. He is decisive and assertive. That's definitely important. You need to be decisive as a man, because, if you have a family, or even not a family, people that are looking around to you, it's important to make that decision and show, that we're not afraid to, even if we are inside afraid, you don't let, that fear be seen out of you, because that's what being a man is. And I'm not saying not to show emotion, not to ask for help, but we need to make decisions, and we need to stick to them and hold to them, and, hold to our words. A man leads. That's kind of given. That's like our God-given role, is to be a leader, in our homes, whether it be in business or whatever. We just need, I mean, not everybody's going to lead a business, because, not many people want to do that. But in our own homes, our own families, we need to be leaders and set the standard, set the tone for not only for the young men, but also the young ladies. Like Sam said, you're going to be that man that your woman, that your daughter may look up to, or that your little cousin may look up to, whatever the case may be. A man makes progress.
Neighbor,
exactly. Anybody around you, you're going to be that man that somebody's looking up to. A man makes progress. And last, that we spoke of, a man is not afraid to seek help. So, most importantly, I believe that help, when you don't know who to turn to, you can always turn to the Lord. He's always willing. He wants to listen. He wants you to come to him and hear. He wants to hear from you. And that's when, when he imparts that wisdom to you, when he gives you, those instructions that are going to help you out, to allow you to advance and, to grow, to be who it is that he created you to be. Again, this is Yo the podcast. I actually did want to shout a few people out. So as you guys know, my logo is a picture of my beard with a microphone in it. Shout out to Justin, my cousin, who did that. I've had my beard for a while now. And I started using these products, these beard products. So I'm into like the all natural stuff. So shout out to Natural Butter Love, Miss Queen and her business, her beauty product business. She has a lot of different things for the women as well, body butters and all those things. But the one that I used recently is the Island Breeze Beard Balm. Fellas, I mean, I'm not one to just plug stuff just for the sake of it. I really like this joint. It's on point. It smells great. It makes your beard very manageable, and again, it's just good stuff. And it's always great to support other people that support you too. So shout out to Miss Queen and Natural Butter Love. I'll put some info in the description of where you guys can go check those out. Shout out to Neat Tucks, the best way to keep your shirt tucked in. NeatTucks.com. Go check those out. Speak Prosperity. They got some great T-shirts and clothing for you guys with some very inspirational quotes and things on it. And of course, shout out to Verdure watches. That's time well spent. So whenever you guys need some products for yourself, some beauty products, some products for your clothing, some clothing products, period, some accessories, some watches, all that stuff, go check those out. Great companies for a great cause. They do great things, and they're really good people. So again, this is Eddie Johnson, your host, here with cousin Sam and my man JB, all the way from Ghana. So yeah, yo the podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
I feel like you should say it with a deeper voice, Natural Butter Love.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Stay tuned for the next episode. And ladies, also, of course, I can't forget about the ladies. So we're going to do the flip side of this topic, what it means to be a man. So the flip side of that would be what it means to be a woman. So I'll have a special guest on the next episode, and she'll get into, what she believes it means to be a woman. And, you guys can give us your input, and everything will be great. So, yeah, stay tuned for the next episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Peace.